Okay. So now the attendance has crossed 50%. So let's just, I've taken your attendance. Okay. Based on the participant list. Now let's start the lecture. So in the yesterday's lecture, uh, we studied about different types of irrigation system. कुणीतरी अनम्युटेड आहे, प्लीज म्यूट युअरसेल्फ.
ಒಂದೇ ಗಾಡಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗಮ್ರಿ
प्लीज
ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ
प्लीज म्यूट युअरसेल्फ. आता तुम्हाला प्रत्येकाला सुरुवातीला मी जॉईन करताना सगळ्यांना म्यूट करतो. उगीच अनम्यूट करत बसायचं नाही. B74 रोल नंबर. Okay. So is my screen visible to you? Is my screen visible? Okay, anybody? Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is my voice audible fairly? Uh, ex Excuse me, just. Okay. So let's start the lecture. So in the last lecture, we studied about the different types of irrigation system. Okay, and we saw how to design that irrigation system first based on the availability of irrigation water, and second was the based on the duration of irrigation. Okay, based on these two criteria, we will design our different irrigation systems. Now, next we studied the difference between a weir, a barrage, and a dam. Okay. Then next we started with methods of distribution of water. In the methods of distribution of water, there are three types of methods. Okay, they are surface irrigation method, first one. The second one is the sprinkler irrigation method, and the third is the subsurface irrigation method. Okay. Now we had started with surface irrigation method, in which we saw the 6 different types of irrigation methods. Okay, 6 different types of surface irrigation method, in which the first one was free flooding. Okay, which was used for uh, a terrain which was very steep or which was rolling. Then border flooding method we used for mm, the areas which had a gentle slope. Then the third one was check flooding. It was a method in which we flooded a level land, okay, an agricultural land that was leveled. Okay, we flooded that land and provided water to the crops. Then fourth surface irrigation method was the basin flooding method, which was another type of check irrigation method. Okay, sorry, check flooding method, but basin flooding was specifically used for fruit trees or orchard trees such as coconut, mangoes, and apples. Then the fifth type of surface irrigation method was the furrow irrigation method. In this method, we built ridges and furrows, where ridges was a raised embankment and furrow are the depressions. On the raised embankment, that is on the ridges, we plant the crops, okay, we plant the seeds, and on the depression we allowed the water to flow. And the last method was drip irrigation method. So drip irrigation method is nothing but when we provide pipes parallel to the crops which are planted, okay, and at each crop we provide a hole in the pipe through which water drips directly onto the crops, okay. And as we saw, among the surface irrigation method, the free flooding method is the least efficient method, because uh, the out of the total amount of water that we provide for irrigation, almost 80 to 90% of the water gets drained away or gets wasted, okay. And the most efficient method in among all the surface irrigation methods is the drip irrigation method, okay. So the total amount of water which you are going to provide the crops with drip irrigation method, out of that almost 80 to 90% of water is going to be utilized for the growth of plants, okay. So the efficiency of drip irrigation method is 80 to 90%, whereas the efficiency of free flooding method is 10 to 20%, okay. So these were all the surface irrigation method which you saw in the last lecture. We'll go to the next we'll go to the sprinkler irrigation method, okay. So let's start with the sprinkler irrigation method. Okay. First, I'll show you the images by which you can easily identify what is meant by sprinkler irrigation method. Okay. So basically, what is a sprinkler irrigation method? Water is transported through pipes up to the agricultural fields, okay, and on the agricultural at the agricultural field, the end of the pipe is connected to a nozzle which has a very small diameter, so that the water falls out of those nozzle with a very high velocity and under pressure, okay. Now we'll just see what is sprinkler irrigation. It is a method of applying irrigation water which is similar to rainfall, okay. So in sprinkler irrigation method, what we are trying to achieve is we are trying to achieve the simulation, artificial simulation of a natural occurrence, which is rainfall. Okay. So the water from the pipes, okay, from the nozzles fall on the crops in the form of rainfall. Okay, in the form of artificial rainfall. Next point is the water is distributed through a system of pipes, usually by pumping. Okay, so sprinkler irrigation is used basically when there are underground sources of or groundwater sources. That means there are wells or tube wells in a near a agricultural field. So water is pumped out from those wells with the help of centrifugal pump, and through a system of pipes they are transported to the where the crops are, okay. Next, then that water is sprayed into the air and it irrigates entire soil surface through spray heads, so that it breaks up into small water drops which fall to the ground. Okay, so nothing but it means that uh, an rainfall, a natural occurrence such as rainfall, is simulated. Okay, it is adaptable to nearly all irrigable soil since sprinklers are available in a wide range of discharge capacity. Okay, so these were some characteristics of sprinkler irrigation. Okay, it is a simple setup to study, but not such a simple setup to apply on an agricultural fields. Okay, basically what is there is we have some wells or tube wells in which water is pumped from below the earth surface. Okay, and that pumped water is transported through a series of pipes, a system of pipes, to the different points, and from that points the sprinkler water is sprinkled onto the crops. Okay, this is an image, different images of sprinkler irrigation. uh, n- they are not so much used in agricultural fields or for growth of crops as much as they are used for landscaping means if you see in there are large lawns or in parks, okay, where they have to keep the grass. Okay, there they provide sprinkler irrigation for those grass. Next we'll see some advantages of sprinkler irrigation system. Okay, now in sprinkler irrigation system, erosion of the soil is avoided. Okay, so how is the erosion avoided? If you see the flooding methods, okay, whether it be basin flooding, whether it be check flooding or free flooding, okay, or border flooding, what happens is uh, we provide water, okay, to the agricultural field, and that water floods the entire agricultural field. Okay, now in irrigation methods such as check irrigation method, where the land is leveled, okay, the agricultural field is leveled and borders are provided on all the four sides of the field. Okay, there is little problem of erosion, but in methods such as free flooding method, what happens is there is a considerable slope to the agricultural fields, and the water drains through the through that slope. Okay, and while draining, much of the soil is also drained away with the water. Okay, uh, but in sprinkler irrigation method, as we are providing a simulation of mild rainfall, okay, this erosion of soil can be avoided. Okay, now next is, it is possible to apply water uniformly. Okay, now if you remember in the disadvantages of furrow irrigation method, okay, one of the disadvantage of furrow irrigation method was the water could not be applied uniformly throughout the agricultural field to all the crops. Okay, but that uh, is remedied in this method, that is in sprinkler irrigation method it is possible to apply water uniformly. Okay, next, third advantage is the amount of irrigation water to be applied to the respective fields can be controlled by controlling discharge through pipes. Okay, so in methods such as check flooding or free flooding methods, we could not control the discharge. Okay, uh, and if the crop is a sugarcane crop, for example, which requires a high amount of water, okay, irrigation water, or for crops such as bajra, which require less amount of water as compared to sugarcane. Okay, in those flooding methods, we cannot control the amount of water which we are providing, but in a sprinkler irrigation method, we can control the amount of irrigation water which can be applied to different fields. Okay, such as for a field growing sugarcane crops or a field growing cotton crops. Okay, we can control the uh, irrigation water provided for each respective field by just controlling the discharge through the pipes. Okay, we can either increase or decrease the discharge depending upon the crop that we are growing in the field. Next, fourth advantage is loss while transporting the water to the fields is reduced. Okay, so what this means is, okay, now if you consider the check flooding method. Okay, now what is check flooding method? We provide a level land and that land is flooded. Okay, now how do we provide water to that land? Okay, so the water is diverted through canals. Okay, the water is diverted through the canals to the agricultural fields. Okay, where it is transported through small ditches to the individual agricultural fields. Okay, so what happens during the transportation of water in this open channel? Okay, there are a number of losses which occur. First and foremost loss is the loss due to evaporation. Okay, as the open channel, as the surface of an open channel, okay, is exposed to the sun, there is a loss due to evaporation. Now the second loss is due to percolation or infiltration. Okay, if the canals or if the ditches are made up of earthen materials, then the water which is being transported through it seeps inside the ground as it is traveling or as it is flowing. Okay, but in the case of sprinkle irrigation method, our source of water is the well or a tube well. So we pump the water out with the help of pipes, and then from there the water is transported to the agricultural field through the pipes itself. Okay, and as the water is transported through pipes, there is first there is very less or no loss due to evaporation, and second there is no loss due to percolation. Okay, the next advantage of sprinkler irrigation method, as I've said, efficiency is higher. Okay, okay, the roll number 8. आता जो पण अनम्यूट करेल त्याचा अटेंडन्स लावणार नाही. Okay, so efficient.
Sir, it was by mistake.
अरे तिथं हातच लावू नका ना स्क्रीन वरती तुम्ही.
हाँ सर, चालेल चालेल.
Okay, so the fifth advantage of sprinkler irrigation method is that efficiency is higher. Okay, efficiency in a sprinkler irrigation method is higher than in all the uh, surface irrigation methods such as free flooding, border flooding, drip irrigation method. Okay, out of all the surface irrigation methods, the efficiency of sprinkler irrigation method is higher. And lastly, there is no problem of waterlogging. Okay, so as we can control the amount of water which we can provide through the crops, through the pipes to the crops. Okay, there is no problem of excess water being provided, which will greatly reduce the waterlogging of the agricultural fields. Okay, so these are the advantages of sprinkler irrigation method. Along with advantages, there are also some disadvantages which we'll see in this slide. Okay, one of the main disadvantage of sprinkler irrigation method is that uh, we take the pipe to a very higher elevation with respect to the crops, and then at that end of the pipe we provide nozzle through which the water is sprinkled on the crops. Okay, now one of the basic purpose of using sprinkler irrigation method is that so that there is uniform distribution of water to all the crops. Okay, but if it is a windy day, if there is a strong wind, okay, then what happens is the sprinkling pattern is disturbed. Okay, if the wind is blowing to just one side, okay, 61 roll number. Hmm. So the wind on a windy day, okay, the sprinkling pattern may be disturbed. So this may happen that only one side of the crops are irrigated while the other side is not irrigated. Okay, so that is one disadvantages. Next is areas with higher temperature increases the evaporation losses. Okay, so when the water is ejected through the nozzles at a high pressure, okay, it comes out, the water comes out in the form of small droplets, okay, uh, which remain in the air and then fall onto the crops. Okay, but if there is very high temperature, okay, uh, as there are very small droplets, the problem of evaporation occurs. Okay, and hence the evaporation losses are higher. Now next disadvantage is the sprinkler irrigation consumes more amount of electricity. Okay, now electricity is required in sprinkler irrigation method from, yes, irrigation, sorry, electricity is required in the sprinkler irrigation uh, from first when we are pumping the water out of the wells or tube wells, and second uh, when we are transporting that water, and third in the use of the nozzle. Okay, so more amount of electricity is required in this method than the surface irrigation method. Okay, then next, heavy soil with low permeability cannot be irrigated efficiently. Okay, now basically a crop takes the water from the soil. Okay, basically what happens is the roots of the crop, okay, they take water from the surrounding soil with the help of capillary action. Okay, and then that water is transported upward to the growth of the crops. Okay. Mm, but if some soil have low permeability, okay, and as we are not flooding the entire area, then that water may, the water which you provide through sprinkler irrigation, it may not seep or infiltrate into the soil if the soil has a very low permeability. Okay, so the water which is being provided to the crops may reduce. Okay, effective water which is being used by the crops is reduced. So these were the disadvantages of sprinkler irrigation method. The last type of irrigation method that we are going to see is the subsurface irrigation method. Okay, I'll just show the diagram. Now, uh, if first when we saw irrigation method, sorry, the surface irrigation method, what happened in surface irrigation method is we provided water directly on the uh, surface of the crops. Okay, that is on the soil surface we were providing directly water. Now in the second type of method, that is the sprinkler irrigation method. Okay, it was different from surface irrigation in that we simulated the natural process of rainfall. Okay, uh, and this last type of method, that is the subsurface irrigation method, what we are going to do is we are going to provide water through pipes directly to the roots of the crop. Okay, we are going to provide water directly to the roots of the crop. So if you remember drip irrigation method, what happened in drip irrigation method was uh, water would just seep from the holes, okay, onto the crops. Similarly, in subsurface irrigation, we are going to provide pipes which will have holes, okay, near the root of a crop, and from that hole the water is going to be percolating, and it will directly reach to the roots of the plants. Okay, as I've told you earlier, the water which is used by the crop for its growth is directly taken by the roots from the surrounding soil. So what we are doing is we are providing the surrounding soil with water. Okay, and for the roots are taking water from that surrounding soil for the growth of the crop. Now we'll see some characteristics. Okay, so what is subsurface irrigation? Subsurface drip irrigation system are highly efficient irrigation systems that apply accurate amount of water directly to the root zone. Okay, preventing water loss through evaporation and other negative effects of surface irrigation. Okay, so what is surface irrigation? It is the type of irrigation in which we provide accurate amount of water directly to the root zone. How are we going to provide accurate amount of water? By controlling the discharge through the pipe. Okay, and we are going to provide the water directly to the root zone. Now here the last part of the sentence is it prevents water loss through evaporation and other negative effects. So we'll just see what all negative effects will be reduced due to use of subsurface irrigation. Okay, so the first it is said here, the loss through evaporation. Okay, any water which you are going to apply on the surface is going to come in contact with the sun. Okay, and that water is going to get evaporated. But as we in this case we are providing water underground, okay, directly to the root zone, no water will come directly in contact with the sun. Okay, so first the evaporation loss is reduced. Then second, okay, we are not providing, as we are not providing water directly on the surface, there can be no drainage and waterlogging problems. Okay, that is one advantage. Then the other advantage can be different. For example, for the transportation of water, there will be no infiltration and evaporation losses. Okay, so these are some of the advantages of subsurface irrigation over the other types. Next, water flowing in the pipes infiltrate into the subsoil through the joints of this pipe. Okay, and some characteristics. This system is relatively complex and most likely automated. Okay, the system is complex because we have to know the depth at which we will have to apply, at which we have to lay our pipes. Okay, we cannot just dig a hole and just start laying pipe. We have to know what is the root zone, where the root zone is, where the capillary zone of the plants is, and where the water table starts. Okay, we need to know all that for designing this system. So the system is relatively complex. Then the next characteristic is it is more suitable for medium to large scale production. So it cannot be used for small scale agricultural production, or for farmers basically in India who do not have large agricultural fields, who have just individual agricultural holdings. For those people, this surface irrigation method is not feasible and it is not economical. Okay, then the next characteristic, it is used in area where natural drainage is restricted. Okay, now the areas where natural drainage is restricted, okay, the problem that happens is it gives rise to waterlogging in agricultural fields. Okay, which is very hazardous because it will result in the soil losing its nutrient properties. Okay, there may be a problem of mosquitoes breeding in those places. Okay, so there is a lot of problem when a natural drainage of a area is reduced. So where a natural drainage is reduced, we can use subsurface irrigation. Okay, now we'll see some advantages and disadvantages of subsurface irrigation method. Okay, so the first is first advantage of subsurface irrigation method is erosion of the soil is avoided. Okay, as we are providing water underground, okay, there will be no transportation of the soil above the ground with water, so the erosion of soil is avoided. Next, the evaporation losses are completely reduced. Okay, so the evaporation losses are very negligible, such that they are considered almost equal to zero. Okay, because we are providing water directly underground, so no water comes in contact with the surface of the earth and they come in contact with sun, so there are no evaporation losses. Third advantage is consumption of nutrients by the plant material is increased. Okay, consumption of nutrients by the plant material is increased because there is no first of all, there is no water logging, which reduces the nutrients in the soil. Okay, so that because of that, consumption of nutrients by the plant is increased. Next, we'll see the disadvantages of subsurface irrigation method. So, there are three disadvantages. First is when saline water is used, salts accumulate at the wetting front. Okay, when saline water is used, salts that means if the water which is transported through the subsurface irrigation pipes, okay, if it is saline water, it contains high quantity of salt, then what will happen, those salts will accumulate at the dripping point of the pipes, okay, which may block the dripping points, and hence water won't be able to percolate out of that pipe onto the soil, okay, or onto the root zone. So that is one disadvantages. Second is emitter, okay, or the droplet points can be damaged or blocked by root hairs. Okay, uh, as we know, we cannot predict how the root of a plant will grow. Okay, there is no fixed pattern to it. So there can be sometimes problem that emitter the root hairs, okay, they can totally block or they can damage the pipes, okay, or the points of the pipe where the water is percolating from it. Third, heavy machinery can damage the pipes. Now, as these pipes are laid underground, okay, now after that, if we use heavy machinery, for example, such as tractors, okay, for tilling the land, then those heavy machineries can damage the pipes which are laid underground. Okay, so that is one disadvantage of subsurface irrigation method. Okay, so I hope you understood all the methods. First, there are basically three methods. Main method, one is surface irrigation method, second is sprinkler irrigation method, and third is subsurface irrigation method. Okay, under surface irrigation method you have free flooding, then border flooding, then check flooding, basin flooding, furrow irrigation, and drip irrigation under surface irrigation. And then next you have sprinkler and subsurface irrigation method. So I hope you understood all these methods. Okay, I have just before starting the lecture, I have uploaded the notes of the first unit on our water resource engineering group. Okay, so download that and start studying. So our last point in the introduction part is the development of agriculture in India. Okay, now our first unit is divided into three parts. First is the introduction to engineering, sorry, introduction to irrigation. Second, the second part of the first unit is introduction to hydrology, which is a very small part which can be completed in just half an hour. And the third part is water requirement of crops. Okay, so now we are completing the first part, that is the introduction to irrigation. And in this, the last point that we are going to see is development of irrigation in India. Okay, now this is a diagram I got from a government website. Okay, now it shows the sources of irrigation. Okay, now among those, if you see the orange colored patches are the areas which are being provided irrigation water from a canal. Okay, then next, the dark pink color or red color as you see it, okay, those are the areas, okay, which receive irrigation water by storing them in tanks, okay, by storing them in storage tanks. And if you see the light purple areas, patches of lands, okay, now those are the areas in which the agricultural fields receive irrigation water from the wells, okay. And the last, if you see, there are some hollow patches, okay, so there are some hollow patches here. I have marked it, okay, such hollow patches. Now these are the areas which receive irrigation water from tube wells, okay. So we are going to just briefly, we are going to study development of irrigation in India. And if you just see, okay, if you just observe the two most common types of sources of irrigation water in India are, first they are canals, okay, orange color, faint orange color, and second are the wells, okay, that is faint purple color, okay. These two are the main types or the most used irrigation sources in India. Now if you see the third source, which is the tanks, which is in dark pink or red color, okay, whatever it is, okay, you will see that uh, the storage tank is basically used in the southern part of India, okay. You won't see its use in the northern part of India. So that means the storage tanks are built basically in the south, they are being used, but they are not being used in the northern part. If you see in the northern part, maximum amount of wells have been dug, okay, for the irrigation purpose. uh, Basically if you see the area of Rajasthan, okay, it is totally being provided irrigation water from the wells, okay. And if you see the canal system irrigation, okay, that is in the faint orange color, you can see that its use is constant, or its use is uniform throughout the country, but it is basically concentrated in the northern parts, okay. Now in the beginning, if you remember, I showed we saw a slide in which there was a canal irrigation system in which water was being provided through the help of artificial canal from Satluj River in Punjab, okay, Satluj River in Punjab to the Thar Desert in Rajasthan, okay. So this is that canal system, okay. It is going through the border, with the border we have with Pakistan, okay. So there the canal irrigation system is there, and through that canal the surrounding area is being provided with irrigation water, okay. So next, in the next slide, we'll just see the history of development of irrigation in India, okay. So the history of development of irrigation is the oldest in India along with the Egyptian civilization, okay. Yeah, the Indian civilization was pioneer in the construction of canals that was used for uh, irrigation purposes, okay. That means before Europe, before Africa, before any country on the earth, our Indian civilization was constructing canals when many people did not even know the concept of canals, okay. And canals were constructed in from many rivers, okay, diverting from many rivers such as Sindhu river, Suvastu river, Varnu, and the other rivers, okay. Then the second phase in development of irrigation in India came, when the most widespread irrigation system in India was undertaken in the medieval period by the Sultanate rulers. Okay, and the third phase came during the British occupation. Okay, because by 1940 the Britishers had built a significant number of canals and irrigation system in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Punjab, Assam, and Orissa. Okay, but instead of building, we can say that the Britishers just updated the canals which were already in use in those places from many thousands of years. Okay, but the most important development of irrigation in India took after the independence. Okay, now after the independence, some points which were considered for the development was that among the all the Asian countries, India has the largest arable land. Okay, that means out of the total, if you consider the total land mass of India as 100%, 40% of the land mass is used for agriculture or can be used for agriculture. Okay, so 40% means not just the area which is being used for agriculture, but also area which can be in future used for agriculture. Okay, so the total land is 40%. So among Asian countries, India is the first one in that, and in the whole world, India is the second number because US has more arable land than India. Now, the second point which you have to consider is that uh, India is a tropical country, okay, which has just 3 to 4 months of heavy rainfall, okay, and then remaining 8 to 9 months which are totally dry, okay, and in a country like India is an agrarian country or an agrarian economy, okay, that means all the economy that is being practiced in India directly or indirectly it depends upon agricultural produce. Okay, so in such a country, irrigation should play a, or has played a major role in production and process. Okay. Now, 50 years back, okay, during the 1970s, there underwent a very uh, big revolution in terms of irrigation that was known as the green revolution. Okay, now under green revolution, the gross irrigated area of India has increased more than threefolds from 22% to 76%. Okay, that means 50 years back, out of the total agricultural area, only 22% was irrigated, and the remaining 78% still depended upon the monsoon season, rainfall from the monsoon season, which was erratic and which was very non-uniform. Okay, but now the total area which comes under irrigation has increased to almost 80%. Okay, so that is one good thing which came out of green revolution. So uh, what did the green revolution achieve? Okay, or what did they do differently? Now before the green revolution, India mainly the agriculture in India mainly depended upon the rainfall, and second upon the surface sources such as lakes and rivers and streams. Okay, but uh, during the green revolution, okay, the digging or excavation of wells and tube wells was encouraged by the government. Okay, so uh, the groundwater irrigation, that is taking water from the wells for growing of crops in India, developed during the period of Green Revolution and has contributed much in increasing the gross irrigated area of in India. In the last 5 decades, that is in the last 50 years, okay, that means 50 years back, the total gross irrigated area was just 5 million hectares. Now it is 35 million hectares. Okay, so I hope You understood this? So this was development of irrigation in India. It was just a brief development. Okay. Now while studying the third unit, okay, while studying the third and fourth unit, we are going to see the modern development which are in irrigation which are taking place in India in real time. Okay. All these development that I have showed you that has been taken place in the last 50 years, but the daily development which are taking place, they are going to be shown to you in detail in the third and fourth unit. Okay. So here the first part of the first unit, that is introduction to irrigation, is finished. Okay. So we'll just have a brief discussion on the topics that which we covered in the first part. Okay, and then we'll stop the lecture. So first, we saw a brief introduction to irrigation. What is irrigation? Why is irrigation required? Then we saw the definition of irrigation. What is the definition of irrigation? It is nothing but the artificial application of water to the agricultural field. Okay. Next point which we saw was the scope of irrigation. Okay, that means the irrigation, what is the scope, or how vast the irrigation subject is. So under that we saw that irrigation subject has three aspects. First is the engineering aspect, second is the agricultural aspect, and third is the management aspect. Okay. Now under engineering aspect, okay, we as water resource engineers, we have to deal with the engineering aspect. So under engineering aspect, first what we have to do is we have to identify a source of water, such as whether it be well or whether it be river, or if there is no source, then we have to create a source, such as we have to construct hydraulic structures such as dams, okay, weirs and barrages. Okay. Then we have to transport that water, whether it be through canals, that is open channel, or whether through pipes. Okay. So that is the scope of irrigation engineering aspect. Then agricultural aspect deals with the uh, applying the water which is available judicially to each crop. Okay. So the agricultural engineers or BSc agriculture students, they have to study that which crop requires how much amount of water. Okay. And the last was the management aspect. In management aspect, what is the job of a management student who is studying management in agriculture is uh, they have to educate the farmers on the newest technology, on the most renewable technology which is available. Okay. One example of it I can show you is the Pani Foundation, which is going on in various districts of Maharashtra. Okay, that comes under the management aspect, where you are training the farmers to judicially use water, where you are digging ponds, okay, small ponds for a collection of rainwater, okay, and you are conducting rainwater harvesting. That comes under the management aspect. Next point was the necessity of irrigation. Why is irrigation necessary, and specifically in a place such as India, why is irrigation necessary? It is necessary because India has just 3 to 4 months of rainfall. Okay. And even that rainfall is uh, not uniform. Okay. It differentiates with respect to time, it differentiates with respect to area, and it differentiates with respect to intensity. Okay. So that is why we should have a source where we can artificially apply water in a controlled manner to the agricultural fields. Next, we saw the advantages and ill effects or disadvantages of irrigation. Under advantages, we saw that how irrigation totally benefits the farmers. Okay. They make the farmers prosperous, and they can help in conserving water. But some disadvantages of irrigation were waterlogging or pollution of the natural resources of water such as rivers and wells. Then next point was types of irrigation systems. Okay, we saw that we can design our irrigation system based on two criteria. First is the availability of irrigation water, and second was the intensity of irrigation. Next, we saw difference between weir, barrage, and dam. Okay. Now, if you remember, weir and barrage are just used to divert water. They are not used to store water. But dam is a structure which is used to store water. And lastly, we saw methods of distribution of water, in which we saw three different types: surface irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, and subsurface irrigation methods. And the last point, we saw development of irrigation in India. Okay, now in the coming lecture, in the next lecture, we will start with introduction to hydrology. And under introduction to hydrology, we'll briefly just see the theory of what is hydrologic cycle. Okay, how rain is the main component of a hydrologic cycle, what is surface water, and what is groundwater. Okay, this is also a theoretical part, second part, and it is a very small part. It can be over in just half an hour. Okay, so in the next lecture, first half an hour we'll devote to introduction to hydrology, and then next half an hour we'll start with the third part of the first unit, which is water requirement of crop. Now, water requirement of crop, in that we have different formulas and we have to solve different problems. Okay, the problems are very easy. Okay, and they are very application based. Okay, they are very field based problems, so you'll have fun in solving that. So thank you. I end my lecture here. Now let me just take the attendance. Roll number 1. Two,
Yes, sir.
3,
Present, sir.
4, 5,
Yes, sir.
6,
Present, sir.
7,
Present, sir.
8, 9, 9,
Present, sir.
10,
Present.
Present, sir.
11,
Present, sir.
12,
Present, sir.
13,
Present.
14,
Present, sir.
15,
Present, sir.
16,
Present, sir.
17,
Present, sir.
18,
Present, sir.
19,
Present, sir.
20, 21, 22,
Present, sir.
23,
Present, sir.
24, 25,
Present, sir.
26, 27, 28,
Present, sir.
29,
Present, sir.
30,
Present, sir.
31, 32,
Present, sir.
33,
Present, sir.
34, 35,
Present, sir.
36,
Present, sir.
37,
Yes, sir.
38,
Present, sir.
39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 43, okay, 44,
Yes, sir.
45,
Present, sir.
46, 46, 47, 47, 48, 49,
Present, sir.
50, 50,
Yes, sir.
51, 52, 53, 54,
Present.
okay, 54, 55,
Sir, 54%.
okay, 55, 56,
Present, sir.
57,
Yes, sir.
58,
Present, sir.
59,
Present, sir.
60,
Yes, sir.
61,
जरा कपेटो present in areas में ना present
62,
Yes, sir.
63,
Present, sir.
64, 65,
Sir, 64 present, sir. 64.
65 present, sir.
okay, okay, 66,
Hello, sir. 64.
Present, sir.
okay, okay, oh, ऐकलं मी 66,
Present, sir.
67, 68,
Present, sir.
69,
Present, sir.
70,
Present, sir.
71,
Present, sir.
72,
Yes, sir.
73, 74,
69%, sir.
okay, okay,
74 present, sir.
okay, 75, 75, 76,
Yes, present, sir.
77,
number 8.
Sir, roll number 34 present.
किती
Roll number
54,
33.
34 present, sir.
okay,
Roll number 8 present.
एक एक सांगा, एक एक करून सांगा,
Sir,
Roll number
04.
okay,
Hello.
hello,
Sir,
Hello,
due to
sir. Roll
range
number 8
problem.
present.
okay,
Sir, 64.
Sir, 20.
21,
27.
Sir, 4.
okay, 27,
Sir,
Roll
64.
number 8. Roll number 8 present. Sir, roll number 39.
okay, okay,
पूर्ण वॉइस लॅग वाली आवाजच नाही येत.
51.
Hello, sir.
हो 51 लावली,
Sir, 04.
Sir, roll number 8.
हो लावली रे,
Roll number 39.
लावली 39 लावली, हे म्हणजे
Sir,
तुमची
Sir,
27.
04.
हो हो 04 08 27 39 लावले, म्यूट व्हा तुम्ही.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
ओके, सो लेट्स
Sir, 64.
लावले तुझी अटेंडन्स.
Sir, roll number 8 present ना?
ओके, आई विल स्टॉप द लेक्चर नाउ.
आवाजच नाही आवाली जे के. करू का?
Oh, so I'm stopping the lecture. Thank you, everybody. Stay home.